Isaac Seumalo, according to Jerry Dulac, is out 4 weeks with the pectoral injury. It's just a strain. It's not a tear. That's massive news for the Steelers. A huge, huge missed bullet for Pittsburgh. Spencer Anderson, Mason McCormick will compete at left guard to see who starts. I mean, just very briefly, unless you feel otherwise, Spencer Anderson's my choice here. It makes me incredibly nervous to start 2, let alone 3 rookies on the offensive line. Mason McCormick comes from an FCS school. Like, he might be the future. He very well could be the future. Maybe he's the starter next year. I don't think I'm putting him out there to start right now. I don't think I'm trusting 3 rookies to lead this offensive line. And if you're shooting for the Super Bowl and you're taking it slow with other guys and you're being cautious in the past with Joey Porter Jr. and Keanu Benton, I just don't see it as a good idea to rush Mason out there, especially when you have another option in Spencer Anderson. Now, if Spencer Anderson stinks and goes out there and he isn't very good, yeah, you got to test out Mason McCormick. But my answer is very simple. Go with Spencer until you can't go with Spencer anymore, and then you put Mason out there. But I think in 4 weeks, Spencer should be able to get it done, and I think it's way less risky to have a second-year guy out there, even if he didn't play last season, than a first-year guy next to another first-year guy, and 2 spots over is another first-year guy. That's too young. That's too inexperienced in my head, and it's not going to work out well.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with that. I like Mason McCormick, and I do think that he has been much better than advertised, and he certainly, especially considering you mentioned he's an FCS guy, making that jump from not just Division I college football, but FCS college football over to the pros. I think he's done well in the preseason, but again, that's preseason. Spencer Anderson hasn't had a lot of playing time at the National Football League level, but he has been in the routine. He has gone week to week in that NFL routine. He had this offseason to make that jump from year 1 to year 2. They liked him a lot last year. I think you trust in Spencer Anderson to start this season. Not that I don't like Mason McCormick, but again, like you mentioned, you look at what the Steelers have on offensive line right now. You need somebody who has been in that routine and can go in week 1 knowing what to expect in his first actual work week in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't think it takes anything away from Mason McCormick. I don't think it means that you're not going to start him next year. I look at it simply as right now for the first 4 weeks of the season, you take the least amount of risk you could possibly take, and Spencer Anderson is it. You're not looking to start a guy for the whole year. You're looking to start a guy for 4 weeks. This is not the future. This is right now. Patch it up. Band-Aid material. That's all we're looking for. Spencer Anderson is the Band-Aid right now. Mason McCormick, he's a risk, and he might not hold up. And that's the last thing you want is to have a struggling rookie guard for a number of reasons. For one, you just don't want that at all. For two, you're going to get a lot of people that instantly react and say Mason McCormick stinks, and then he's going to get slapped with that label. And then worst case scenario, he ends up like Kendrick Green, and you don't want that to happen. And nobody wants to take the blame for it, but we're all part of it, where if he's really bad, we're going to talk about how bad he really is. So you just don't want to take that shot. Spencer Anderson is the easy answer here. Least amount of risk. If Mason McCormick comes out and just balls out at any point this summer, you would go with him. But he never did that. So he looked great, way better than I anticipated. There was no conversation of like, okay, he's ready to start right now. So let's not push the envelope. Let's keep it simple and allow Spencer Anderson to be a more experienced guy at an NFL level. And I get it. He hasn't started any games, but being in the NFL for a year, you learn a ton and you develop a ton. So allow him to put that on display the first 4 weeks of the season.